Hey, Yosh, what's up with the head? Did you lose a bet or something? I mean, dude, you're totally just... You're rocking it, man. You're just...
Hi, and welcome to The Point Is. We just saw X-Men Apocalypse, and we loved it.
Absolutely. Honestly, to me, it was a fantastic movie. No real complaints at all about this one. I liked it a lot. What did you feel overall compared to the last one? I mean, we're coming off of Days of Future Past. To me, I think this is the best one so far.
I won't say it's the best one so far. The entire second half of the X-Men movies are still subpar for me than X1 and X2, specifically X2, except for Deadpool. But I am very happy with where the X-Men franchise is going. I thought this movie was great. I thought it was at least on par with Days of Future Past.
Yes. In general, the story, there was no real lags. There was no real huge questions that were left in the air unanswered. I was engaged the whole... It didn't feel like a 2.5 hour movie. I'll tell you that.
So in the basic story, we're in the timeline after Days of Future Past, before X-Men that doesn't exist anymore because of the doesn't matter. Xavier's school is working as it should, as we see it later, and we're getting our new students, some familiar faces in younger forms. Besides that, we also have Apocalypse coming in, who is basically a mutant who has a power of like a bunch of other mutants in him, and he wants to destroy the world, kind of.
He's a nut job is what he is, man. He is the first of everything. I mean, he's lived forever. He's older than Jesus and all that other stuff. And he comes together, and he's been able to move himself from person to person to person to person, living forever. There's only a couple powers he doesn't have. How are you going to beat everything? He's the one villain I've been wanting since the first X-Men. I'm like, give me Apocalypse, and I can go home a happy person. Exactly what I wanted. Yeah.
The biggest plus for this movie has to be, for me at least, has to be how big the stakes were and how powerful Apocalypse was, and now you see characters facing him, and it's like, ooh, how the heck?
Seriously, like, I mean, there's a scene in the trailer where you see Xavier's eyes turn black, and he goes, "I've never felt power like this." That scene is the major scene where you're wondering, how powerful is Apocalypse? Xavier, Apocalypse. It gives you everything right there, and from that point on, it's just ketchup.
It was an amazing moment. I love that moment, that little moment where Xavier just had, holy crap, what am I dealing with here?
Let's roll into the character. The main one here is Apocalypse, played by Oscar Isaac. That was his role. He did perfectly for that role. He made him feel menacing without being that terror. Apocalypse walks around like the dude on the campus who you're not going to fight him. So he just has this cool walk like, I'm going to rule this world. But I'm going to get mad and I'm going to scream at you and you're going to get scared. You know, you're going to piss your pants.
There's a whole part of how he talks about himself being a god among men. And part of me was like, you know what? If I'm an ancient Egyptian dude and I see this guy, I go on my knees and I start praying because he fits. Characters really had great moments and develops. It wasn't one of those ensemble pieces where like every character gets the most, the best, everything. But those are really hard to pull off. But in the small sections of what they did, every character did at least get a moment to shine.
Yeah.
Whether it was in a serious or in an emotional or in a funny way. Magneto had a lot of stuff happening with him that was just really great, and somehow even more harsh, and had me connecting with him than ever.
Absolutely. Especially Magneto.
But the younger versions of the X-Men were actually great. I was surprised to say great. Specifically when it comes to like Jean Grey, who was played by Sophie Turner, the one from Game of Thrones, Sansa.
Yeah.
Then in my mind, I was like, oh, look, they cast a big name again to be one of these characters, and all I'm going to see is Sansa, and not Jean Grey, and what a shame.
Worry.
But then...
You saw Jean Grey?
I saw Jean Grey.
She did very good.
Movie, it was great. Young Cyclops had his moments and his great times. I was really happy with the characters and how they felt and how things moved along, and the pace of... I'm just going to say the pace of the movie again, because that was really...
That kept it. Yeah, it just kept going. And I think that's a good point to make involving all that, because of how many characters were really brought into this movie, and yet you had time to give them enough of a reason, emotionally, story-wise, everything else, without losing your pace or losing feeling from where you were in the movie itself. And then you're going to introduce one of the biggest female names in any superhero. You're going to introduce Storm. To me, her character was introduced a little weak, but it was weak for like a 2-second margin. It was like, why Okay, cool. I was worried about the mohawk, but I
thought it was funny that they decided to go with the mohawk on younger Storm when in the comic books it's only recently that Storm decided to do the mohawk.
I thought she portrayed that I'm going to kill you with a lightning bolt pretty well.
Okay, not because we're trying to wrap it up because it's 2 a.m. or because of stuff, but let's talk about the action and move on with things because it's 2 a.m.
Okay, action. There wasn't a lot.
No, there wasn't a lot, but it was more about the story than about the action.
And it's so weird saying that when you look at it
as a comic book
superhero movie, and the story, which was great, didn't need action until the very end, the climax. I mean, there was a little bit here.
And when we say action, we think fighting scenes. But sometimes, but there was spectacle. There was a lot of times in the movie where, like, these big shit was flying in the air. It wasn't flying at someone or hitting stuff. Or it wasn't a battle, but there was a big spectacle going on. Like, it's definitely did more Quicksilver stuff, which for the very, very first second, I was like, I really hope it's not too much like the last one. And then it wasn't, so I was like, okay, cool.
Well, actually, it was like the last one. No, of
course it was.
But it was better.
So should you see this movie? I think that if you like the later X-Men movies, definitely. If you're not a comic book movie type person, I don't think this one is going to be for you. I don't think this will be one of those movies that bridges the gap like Deadpool can be.
I agree. I think there's too much story for someone who's going in expecting to see bam, 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 bam. You're not going to see a whole lot of bam. You're going to see a whole lot of really cool stuff, but I think it's going to look like an overdone Bourne movie. Kid-friendly? Yeah, actually. I thought it was kid-friendly. There's no real crazy lines, no real insane gore.
So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. It is really late. Jesus.
Yeah, it's you just click the dang. You get the point. Talking about kind of the religious feel. I think it's a good point to make because it really was pretty religious. Not religious. Like no, there was religion in it.
Yeah,
there was religion in it, and I think that's a point to make because it gave a lot of reason.
I think the running theme wasn't religion as in organized religion,
but belief in a god of some kind. As Magneto has his point, Apocalypse, who he even says, he's been named
himself about it.
He's a god.
Using Hebrew too sometimes.
Yeah, which is actually pretty cool. Names himself in 4 different languages. Then you have other points in the movie where they're talking about how this god is this, how that feeling is that, of how I'm a religious involving this, how I'm in a religious sect. Because like the people who are following Apocalypse are their own religion.
I think the reason belief was sprinkled all around was kind of to make us feel that the ancient Egyptians and also the current cult followers weren't crazy for believing in Apocalypse because it's pretty much on par. I like that. I think it was a good theme, and it's a type of theme that I think is one I'd like to explore more by watching the movie 3-4 more times and
probably trying to find all those little points. Yeah, really like kind of doing a whole like spreadsheet like you see like the detectives use and just kind of do those whole rubber band things and really find that connection because there was a lot in there, but in a good way.
Who knows? Maybe I'll just bring that up to a certain someone and we can be a theory. A film theory. I plugged in my other job.
Bam. You look amazing. Forget Xavier. You're my cue ball. To future Yoshi, remember it's 1:45 in the morning.
Yeah.